Prez, one of my favorite guys from WagerTalk. We are going to do something that not a lot of people get to do with you. Sit down and talk some NFL football. But first and foremost, what are you doing in a hockey jersey?
It's all about hockey in Toronto, Kelly. I know we're a month away. I know it's a new year. The NFL football season is upon us. We're 1 week into college football, which, by the way, I went 3-2 in my first 5 plays at WagerTalk.com. But I'm in Toronto, and we got John Tavares, baby, and we could not be more excited over here. I haven't actually taken the jersey off. I was actually at the World Series of Poker circuit event in Montreal this past weekend, home of the Habs. I literally walked around in a Leaf jersey for 5 days. I got screamed at. I got booed. It turned me on.
I bet you really thoroughly enjoyed it. All right, well, let's get to it. Give the viewers what they want. Let's talk some NFL football. Prez, how do you prepare for the NFL season? What are you looking at to bet for the season?
You know, Kelly, long story short, I isolated down to about 15, 16 bets or teams that I'm looking to play on. I can't play on everything. You know, I'll give you an example. I'm going to be playing a lot this year on teams like the under in the Giants, the under in the Bears, the under in the Bills, the under in the Ravens. I'm going to look to play on Denver, on Indy, on the Chargers. I'm going to look to play, overs with Pittsburgh or New Orleans or Oakland or Cleveland. And those are the games that I'm going to look at right off the bat. So if you're playing my plays at WagerTalk.com, and I think you have a coupon code for the customers. Do you have a coupon code for the customers?
I do have a coupon code for the customers.
Yay! Go Leafs. They'll be seeing a lot of those bets. But for this show, we're going to get into sort of what I'm actually betting before the season begins. Because I did make a bunch of bets before the season begins. And I know we're only a couple of days away, but you can still get down on those bets. So let's talk about that. And also make sure to look back at my next video, because we are going to be doing the opening line presidential NFL report every single Tuesday. We're going to do it with you, Kelly, unless, of course, I get complaints and they want it just me. Then I'll just push you to the side.
I like it. I'm excited to be part of the presidential report. I've heard great things about it over the years, and I like to be a little contrarian sometimes, so this could get really interesting. Prez, I know you have a monster bet coming out of the AFC. Talk to me about why you like the the Los Angeles Chargers.
Oh, good one with the cough there. You know, the Chargers to win the AFC Championship game is plus 800. I think that's the best value bet on the board, really, to be honest, pre-football season. And the reason is, there really aren't a lot of dominant teams in the AFC. I mean, the only 2 teams that I can say unequivocally right now are better than them are the Patriots and the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think when you look at the Chargers and you put that with, other teams like Jacksonville, who I'm not high on, or KC, who I'm not high on, Denver, who might not even make the playoffs. I mean, name about Baltimore with Joe Flacco at quarterback. There's just really not a lot to choose from in the AFC, and I think the Chargers are extremely well balanced. They've got a rock solid defense. Their front 7 are amazing. Joey Bosa is one of the best D linemen in the game. They got Melvin Gordon coming out of the backfield, Keenan Allen at wide receiver, Phillip Rivers, albeit slightly inconsistent. We've seen the guy play some amazing football games. There's no reason they won't win that division. The division's a total mess. And, they're going to be a hell of a lot cheaper than plus 800 if they make it against Pittsburgh or New England in the championship game. So I think that's my favorite preseason bet on the board, specifically from a value perspective. Equal to that bet, though, Kelly, is the NFC winning the Super Bowl. NFC winning the Super Bowl is minus 130. I mean, let's take a look at the 3, most prominent teams in the NFC right now, if you will. The Rams, the Vikings, and the Eagles. Put the Saints in there as well. They're better than every one of the teams in the AFC. And when it gets to Super Bowl time, do you really think it's going to be minus 130? I think the NFC is going to be minus 3.5 against whoever they play in the Super Bowl.
I have to agree with you. The NFC has two of the toughest divisions in football. And to go back to what you were saying about the Chargers, I'm not high on the Chargers, but yes, it sure looks like they're going to win the AFC West, which is really weak, which is going to give them a nice little easy layup into the playoffs. And then you're right, there's maybe 3, maybe 4 AFC teams that I think look good, where there's 10 NFC teams that look really good. So I have to agree with you there.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong. I mean, I'm not like freaking out over the Chargers. They're going to win it all. They're going to win it all. But Kelly, it's plus 800. You bet $100 to win 800. I mean, that seems like a good value bet to me. Let's go through the AFC West, East, South, blah, 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 and the NFC divisions. And make sure, guys, to check the next video, the NFL presidential address.
Absolutely. All right, let's talk about who you like. So you already said you like the Chargers to win the AFC West, plus 125. Any other team you like out of the AFC West?
Well, I'm going to be betting Denver over the total of 7.5 wins in that division. I went through their schedule. I actually think they're going to be 8-8. And strangely, I think they're going to be 500 the whole way through. They're going to be 1-1, 2-2, 3-3. The Denver, don't sleep on the Broncos. Case Keenum has looked good in the preseason. They've got a rock-solid defense. They've got, there's my phone. I'm just going to say, can I call later? I should actually turn the ringer off, Kel. But yeah, don't sleep on the Broncos. They've got Freeman looks good coming out of the backfield. Booker is going to be okay as the second running back. They've still got Thomas, as a wide receiver.
Absolutely. They also have, Sanders. And I'm really surprised to see what we're going to see from Cortland Sutton. I think he's going to be kind of a sleeper fantasy football pick.
Right.
Out of the
and their defense, don't forget. And on top of that, it's really hard to play in Mile High. So I'm taking Denver over 7.5. I'm also taking the Patriots over 11.5. I know we've jumped to the AFC East. Look, I'm not high on the Patriots, but their division consists of South Dakota State, Tulane, and Texas Tech. I mean,
it's pretty bad.
How bad their division is. It's an actual joke. They've got 6 wins right there alone.
And even if they happen to falter in one of those games in Buffalo or at Miami like we've seen before, it still looks like a very square bet, but I can't see them not winning at least 12 games this year.
Right. I mean, where are they going to lose 5? So the Pats over 11.5, and to jump to the AFC South, I like the Jaguars under the total of 8.5. This is the most overrated team in football. If you look at their schedule last year, you'll notice that they beat up all the teams inside of their division. They were actually really bad outside of their division and horrendous playing against the NFC teams. They really struggled to move the ball here. Right now we've got a game on Sunday, New York Giants hosting the Jags. The Jags are favored in that game. You'll hear my presidential NFL report later. I'm all over the Giants.
I have to agree with you there. Yeah, it looks like a very trap game. Jags laying 3 on the road to start the season. All right, moving along. Talk to me about the NFC. Who do you like? Who are you betting?
Okay, so NFC really quickly, and I know this is getting long, so let's just race through it. The NFC East, it's a really strong division. I mean, there are guys out there that think the Redskins could win the NFC East. I was listening to some talking heads yesterday on my drive back from Montreal. I think you're going to have a letdown season with Philadelphia. With that said, on paper, they are way ahead of any team in that division. I am not high on Dallas at all. They have no wide receivers. Their quarterback looked pedestrian at best last year. Their defense is a total mess. I don't like their coach. So the Dallas Cowboys, I don't see having a good season.
Not to mention they're down 2 O-linemen, where I was looking at Zeke having at least a big year because they have no wide receivers, and now they're just going to stack the box against him, and he may not even have a great year.
I agree. I think Dallas could be the worst team in that division. I'm going to take the New York Giants at plus 500. I mean, literally every time you write Eli off, every time Eli has an absolutely horrific season, they don't win the East. They win the Super Bowl. We've seen it twice already, and I grant you Eli is old, but, I mean, we've got Barkley coming out of the backfield, Odell as wide receiver. I love their tight end, Ingram. I think the New York Giants are poised to maybe steal that division. And at plus 500, I'm going to take it. As far as the North goes, Kelly, what a division. I mean, you can make an argument for any team, including the Bears, to win that division. And now with Khalil Mack joining the Bears, they're going to have the best defense in football. They got a great running back. It's a shame about Jeffrey missing a few games, but, I mean, Detroit with Stafford, Green Bay with Rodgers. I mean, with that said, I think Minnesota is still the best team in the division. I'm getting plus money on them. I'm going to take Minnesota at plus 125.
I got to agree with you there. I think Minnesota's the best team in the division. I'm not sure what the Packers were doing this offseason. I thought that they would make some nice pickups on defense as well as a couple wide receivers to replace some of the older guys they got rid of. They did not. I like Devontae Adams, but he's not going to be able to be double-teamed all day, every day. I got to go with the Vikings. Plus, I love Coach Zimmer because he covers the spread.
Yeah, it's like Pete Carroll from his college football days. Speaking of Green Bay, it'll be interesting to see how Jimmy Graham fits in there because Rodgers really doesn't pass to his tight ends ever. With that said, I like Green Bay under the total of 10.5 wins. I don't see where those 11 wins are going to come from. They're going to have a tough time in every game in their division, and they're going to lose at least 3 in their division alone. So Green Bay under 10.5. Moving to the South, Kelly, that division is completely up for grabs. Atlanta, Carolina, or New Orleans can win that division, but I'm getting Atlanta at plus 175. They have the exact same team as they had when they went to the Super Bowl. And, I mean, let's be honest here. They've got weapons everywhere. Julio Jones, Ridley now to make space for Julio. Devontae Freeman and Coleman, probably the best 1-2 backfield in all of football. Matty Ice, Matt Ryan has the #1 completion percentage in the last 5 years. This guy's got accuracy, Kelly. Their defense is super fast. I'm getting plus 175. I'm taking Atlanta. And I'm not high on New Orleans, which is why I'm actually taking them under the total of 9.5 wins. I think their defense is pedestrian at best. And, I mean, let's be honest here. Michael Thomas is a great wide receiver, but he's not a 1A wide receiver. They've got Benjamin Watson playing tight end. You couldn't name another wide receiver. And I'm not going to throw the farm at Kamara. I mean, we're talking about 9-10 games.
I think it goes back to the exact same thing we just talked about with the Dallas Cowboys. You cannot rely solely on your running back. You've got to have somewhat of an air attack. And while I do like Drew Brees and I do think he's competent, I absolutely agree with you on that defense. It has been in shambles since the Ryan brothers took over and has just never came back. Rob Ryan ruined the Dallas defense. He ruined the Saints defense. He ruined the Bills defense. And now all 3 teams are still suffering.
Right. Yeah, so I'm taking under New Orleans, and Kelly, a surprise bet. I'm taking Tampa Bay over 6.5 wins. Look, I know we've got Fitzpatrick for the next 3 games, but Kelly, this team is loaded. I mean, let's put the quarterback position aside. Mike Evans is one of the top wide receivers in football. They've got a really good rookie running back. They've got a good O-line. Their defense is rock solid. They've got a great up-and-coming tight end. It's always tough for teams to play in Tampa Bay. I actually see them winning 3 games in their division alone. I like Tampa Bay over 6.5 wins. And I'm only betting 2 more games in the NFC, and that is in the NFC West. That division's a joke. I think Seattle is going to have a losing season. I'm not high on San Francisco, and I don't even need to talk about Arizona. The only bet where I'm laying money, I'm taking the Rams at minus 175 to win that division. And I'm also taking the Rams at over 2.5 wins. I actually think the Rams are potentially the best team in all of football. I mean, their wide receiving core with Brandon Cooks and Robert Woods. Jared Goff looked great last year. I think they have the best running back in the whole league in Todd Gurley. They've got Aaron Donald leading a stout defense, and I absolutely love their coach. So, yeah, those are my bets for the upcoming NFL season.
Great stuff, Prez. I'm sure since you like the Rams so much, you'll like my Rams at 10-1 to win the Super Bowl bet, hoping we can get nice and deep into the playoffs. And then, if need be, I'll hedge from there.
You know what, Kelly? I'm going to make that bet. That's actually a phenomenal bet. 10-1 for the Rams.
It might not be anymore. That's what it was a few weeks ago. One of our other guys from WagerTalk, Dave Koken, and I did a video, and Dave kind of sold me on it. And I said, okay, why not? It'll give me something to cheer for the course of the season. And like I said, you can always hedge there towards like the middle of the playoffs if need be.
Okay, Kelly, let's just give out my season coupon again, guys.
Absolutely.
I was over 58% last year in NFL. I've had 2 losing seasons in my life. You can get my entire NFL season and playoffs. Regular price $8.99, $4.99 for all of you. Prez NFL $4.99.
Very good stuff from Prez. Make sure you guys check out our next video. It's going to be Prez's NFL presidential address. We're going to run through every single NFL game. Check it out, as well as all of our other videos up on WagerTalk.